All right. All right, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to another episode of the Wives Club. The Wives Club started in 2021 when I booked a session with the late, great Kevin Samuels. It wasn't for me. It was because I always felt convicted whenever he said, "Where are the older women to teach the young?" So that's what we do here. We've got another Kevin Samuels video to react to. I'm so glad that his channel is pushing out new content. So I am Maggie, a former wife of 10 years. Lisa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I am Lisa. I am a current wife of 18 years and happy to be back for another week. An interesting topic.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. So we are reacting to a video that the Kevin Samuels channel put out not too long ago. And the topic is all hope lost? And this is actually a shorter video. It's only about 10 minutes long. It's a clip from one of his longer live streams. And Kevin and Kevin's content was great for grabbing your attention. So we're going to do a little bit of rapid fire tonight because I know Kevin's channel is going to be releasing new content every first Friday of the month. This is the first Friday of November. So we're going to see you all over there in the chat. All right. So I've got 15 topics in my notes, and we'll just react to it and love to hear what you all's thoughts are, and we'll give you our perspective as always. So the first one was Kevin had several acronyms, and he talked about men being confident, intelligent, and assertive. So if you ever heard Kevin say shout out to the CIA, one love to the FBI, he wasn't talking about the alphabet boys. He was talking about men being confident, intelligent, and assertive. And ladies, if we're being very honest with ourselves, these are the caliber of men and the kind of men that we actually want, right? You can feel a man's presence when he enters the room with confidence. You know what it is when you see it, and you know what it is when you don't see it. So that's a definite masculine and attractive quality. Intelligent. I love this one, being a nerd, being a STEM girl. But it is important, I believe, in traditional roles that we learn from our men. I want to be able to talk to my man or any man and actually leave better than I found him, having learned something. We are not the same. We are equally valued, but we are not equal. So I love to learn from men because the way that they think, the way that they process, and the way that they problem solve is different. And then the last letter is assertive. This is another quality that I think is highly attractive. When a man can stand on his square, like Kevin always used to say, and say what he thinks and mean what he says, that's that assertiveness, that go get 'em, that allows men to go out there and slay the dragon so we don't have to. So that's my thoughts on that. Lisa, what are yours?
Yeah, I remember when I first heard Kevin say this, when I started listening to him, and he was talking about the confident and the assertiveness, because I like, oh, I just love a confident man. And then the assertiveness. And then intelligent. I mean, gosh, yes, please be intelligent if you're going to lead me. But I just, when I first started listening to Kevin, the first thing I was like, confidence. Yes. It's just something about anyone that has confidence, but especially if your man exudes confidence, that's just like, I don't know, just something about it. It just always that struck out to me is like, if you just got confidence, you just like when you watch a movie or somebody just confidence just has presence about them. And then assertiveness, like when I think of my dad, my dad's very assertive. He's very confident. And um, I guess in a lot of ways, when Kevin describes this stuff, I'm thinking about things that I grew up seeing. I saw my dad being very assertive and confident. So um, those are the things that I look forward to, um, look for in a spouse, which I have found. And I would say when I was out dating, that's what I look forward to. So when he said those three things about confidence, intelligence, and assertiveness, I was like, yes, right on, sir. I'm with this program. So let's go.
All right, so number two out of my 15, The complement to a CIA man, in Kevin's terms, was an FBI woman. And again, we're not talking about federal agents here. FBI was another acronym which stood for feminine, beautiful, and inspirational. And that was actually one of the first times that I heard a man basically say, as this caliber of man, these are the qualities that we're looking for in women. Because oftentimes, we women, we like to collect amongst ourselves, and we're in the echo chamber, you go girl, you're fine just the way that you are. But it is really good to know that men have a standard, not only for themselves, but also for the women that they choose to be with. And it is their choice. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So feminine, I'm a huge proponent of all things feminine. I firmly believe that because we work in this modern world, we live in this modern world, which is competitive. I work in tech, which is data driven. I'm a boy mom, a divorced mom of two boys. And just what you have to do to survive brings out that masculine in you. So I always tell ladies, especially young ladies, you need to be mindful about swimming upstream and going against the grain to maintain your softness, because men don't want someone that reminds them of themselves. And then beautiful. We all know that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and we're all different. And there are different qualities that men look for, and different characteristics. And you are who you are. We've heard loud and clear from the men that they like to see us, not different representations of us. So I would always advise ladies to find a beauty routine, or whatever you can do to just enhance what you naturally have without going overboard. And then inspirational, the last piece of the acronym. Ladies, we can do so much to inspire a man with our presence, with our words, with our support. We can also do a lot to tear a man down. And sometimes you don't even know what you're doing is harmful. So that helpmate, that support system, that encouragement, that soft place to land. I'm your biggest cheerleader. I believe in you. These are all the things that we can do to help inspire a man to go out there and get it, so you don't have to. What is your reaction, Lisa?
Yes, I love it. We have to inspire our men, and we have to be that feminine energy that they're craving. So we don't want to give them the opposite. We want to give them what they want. So um, I know there's so many love songs I listen to on the radio and music and stuff that, just talk about how men are inspired to do things for us and want to do things for us. So, we need to inspire them. We do inspire them. And with our beauty, with what we, providing comfort in the home. I know Harmisha talks about pouring into our men, speaking over them, words of empowerment and stuff like that. That's something that we can do to encourage them as well. So we inspire all that, and we have to continue to do so. So that's very important.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on to number 3. I have a list of 15. So, and again, I would highly encourage you all to listen to this Kevin video. It's linked in the description. It's only about 10 minutes, but I thought it was really power packed. So we've talked about men being CIA. We've talked about women being FBI. Now, when we come together, how does that work? For the caliber of men that we say that we want, what Kevin said in this video is that men want their women to be on their program. And ladies, I know, especially for us modern women, us professional women, we really buy into this partner, or nobody's really in charge. We can kind of, drive the bus together. Believe me, I was young and bullheaded and thought I could do everything a man could do. And unfortunately, the marriage did end in divorce. I am so glad I've learned from that. We co-parent really well now. But a man takes time to build himself and create the life that he wants, and then selects a woman to complement him. So of course you're going to bring, a little bit of a woman's touch, but we are not to change them. Our role is to see the life that they've created, and we can either accept or we can exit with grace. So we have to choose wisely whether or not that is the man for us, but it is their program that we're hitching our wagon to. What do you say, Lisa?
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with that. Absolutely. So, like, I think the best scenario I can give is like, depending on what your man does, if your man, like my husband, um, when I met him, he was a second shift kind of person. He always worked second shift. So I had to make sure that everybody in my family knew that I was going to, I kind of like, okay, he's a second shift guy. This is the kind of wife he's going to need. I'm going to be that second shift kind of girlfriend or second shift kind of whatever. And it took my family a while to get used to it. But once I'm like, once just being programmable, like, like a remote control, are you able to be programmable to work with that man, whatever, if that's what he's bringing to the table? Can I work with a second shift guy? Whatever the situation, may not be second shift, maybe whatever his career, whatever it is. As long as you can get on board with it, it's something that you don't have any problem with. If you can't, then, but, and making sure that your family or whoever else needs to understand it can understand it. But if it works for you and it works for y'all, then good. But yeah, you got to be able to get on their program because they're the leader and he's the captain of your ship. So there you go.
I love that. I see a comment from Just Another Mark, and I just raised my eyebrows here. He says, I'm hearing more women say men need to get in alignment with women. It's getting worse out here. I'm so sorry to hear that. And admittedly, I don't have a lot of dating experience. I have 2 relationships, a marriage to my college boyfriend, married after college, and then a long-term relationship since then. And ladies, especially young ladies, hear me and hear me well, because I do consults privately outside of YouTube. And women have the leverage and the power in dating. However, men have the leverage and the power in relationships. It's very different. And what I'm seeing is a lot of women who come into it with their right of refusal and no, I'm not interested. And, he has this problem and he's too skinny and he's not tall enough. And all of those decisions that you make when you're dating, that's fine. Men will take their L's and find someone else who will accept their benefits package. But when you get into a relationship and he says, this is what we're doing, it's not for you to argue him down. And I would just offer this, take it from an older woman who learned the hard way. I always tell young women at 47, I'll be 48 this month, we slow down. Once you have children, once you get older, even if you don't have children, men are built for the long haul, ladies. So don't let that gusto that you have in your 20s and 30s blind you into thinking you're going to want to make all of the decisions and carry that burden into your 40s and 50s. So thank you so much for saying that. Just another mark. And I see Rodney in the chat. Rodney says, love the big hair, ladies. Shout out to natural hair. All right, so let us continue on here. So we have a list of 15 from Kevin's episode. We are on number 4. So Kevin made a comment, and I think this one could really ruffle a lot of feathers, but ladies, it's true. What he said is that the stay-at-home wife opportunity is a young woman's game, and he qualified it as 27 years old and younger. Now, here's the thing, ladies. You can throw tomatoes, you can throw stones, but it is a very hard sell. Especially professional women, hear me. When you've gone out there and you've gotten that big degree and you've gotten that big job and you've gone for the promotion and you have demonstrated that you are capable, you don't need another man, you can fund your own lifestyle, that's great. But it's a very hard sell when then in your late 30s you get tired and now you want a man to come rescue you from the situation that you've put yourself in and sit you down and be a housewife or a stay-at-home mom. Because from the man's perspective, and this is what they tell me, I'm not a man, men chime in, they're looking at you like, wait a minute, you can do all this out there, but then when I come along, now all of a sudden you're helpless. So the reason why Kevin says that is men marry for family. Unfortunately, ladies, the times have just changed where women allow men to have access to them without a commitment. So there's no incentive for a man to give you his name, his covering, and his protection. They marry because they want family and they want to be able to raise their family under their own roof. So in order to get the best benefit for their investment, that's usually why they choose a younger woman to give them children or multiple children. And she's not going to be as difficult bullheaded or headstrong because she doesn't have all these other experiences to compare him to. So, just my thoughts on that. Lisa, what are your thoughts?
I agree, and I say look back at your grandma, your great grandma generations. How did they? Your grandma, your great grandmas, they were having kids about 20, 22. Um, in their early 20s, they were staying at home while your grandpa and great grandpas were out working and doing stuff. And then by the time they're in their, well, either way, the point is that they had those children and they were at home taking care of stuff. And this is even before they had to go to work or anything. And even now, when you, it's just um, I guess it's a fine balance you got to make. But for my mom's generation, my mom, it was easier for her with four kids to just stay at home the whole time while my dad worked until we were all school age, and then she decided to go back into the workforce. But and I don't think until we were like until at least I was a teenager, she didn't go like full time back to work, and my brother was whatever age he was, fully in school. So it just you got to weigh out the cost and the benefits. So it just makes sense, and I think more and more now people are looking back saying, "Hey, that's not a bad way to look at it." So I think he was right on with that.
All right, so continuing on our list, we are up to number 5 of 15 notes that I took away from this Kevin episode. So, Kevin asked a question and he said, do women over 30 have a plethora of options? Unfortunately, ladies, the answer is no. Now, you may have a plethora of options for dates. If you want to casually date, if you want to go out to eat, if you just want to enjoy your life, you may even have a plethora of options for intimacy because let's face it, women control access to intimacy. Kevin also said that. However, if relationship and long term is what you want, over 30, it is a harder sell. Is it the end of the world? No. Lisa and I have both shared that we were married in our 20s, but a man is looking at when a woman removes herself from the market in her prime, which is her 20s, and says, you are the one that I am choosing to be with, hopefully forever and ever. Amen. A man realizes that you had the upper hand during those years. And so he's getting the benefit of your youth, the benefit of your energy, the benefit of your open mind. Over 30, and ladies, whatever reason it is, maybe you were hot girl summering that turned into a hot girl decade, or maybe you thought that corporate ladder was what you wanted to climb. And then you get to 30 and you're kind of like, you know what? I'm not as happy as I thought I would be. Okay, I'll take that one. It doesn't work that way, ladies. Men don't like to be, nobody likes to be your second choice. So my advice would be, because I always like to give women tangible things to do. If you are past your prime, which 30 is past your prime for marriage, is it still doable? Absolutely. But you're not going to be the first choice, which means, and Kevin has said, we older women have to not only humble ourselves from our expectations, but also we have to knock it out of the park. Ladies, we have 10 plus more years of life experience. So that needs to show up in your relationship, not just in your corporate skills, not just in how put your shoe and bag collection, not just in how many stamps are in your passport. You need to have the relationship skills that match your years. Unfortunately, I see it when I do consults with women in their 30s and 40s, and they're having their first real relationship. And it's almost like talking to a teenager, and it's really unbecoming. It would look better for you ladies if you had a few long-term relationships that for whatever reason, they did not end up in marriage, but at least you dated the caliber of men that you could have seen yourself marrying. So that's what I say about that one. Lisa, what's your reaction?
I don't think you have a plethora of anything. I think it's like the men have a plethora, or the men's world is opening wide up, and you're just kind of closing in. And this is just real life experiences from girlfriends, family members, friends who I'm just like, um, I guess I always look at it like this because this way I think you have an inside track in your 20s. You can get ahead and then you're losing all that. You're losing that extra gap and everything the closer you get to 30 and past 30. So I always like to have that inside track or that little space ahead. I forget what they used to call it in track when you got yourself that little buffer ahead, but you're losing that buffer, you're losing that space. So whatever you can do to stay, not do that is better. But if you're in that, just prioritize and do the stuff that Kevin and that we talk about to push yourself ahead again. So I'll leave it there.
Absolutely. We've got a couple more comments. I love that. When you have the competitive advantage, ladies, use it and exit quickly. Just another Mark says the mindset of a woman that is developed after working a career in a field dominated by men is difficult to change, but possible if she needs to and wants to change to get something better. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't change anybody. You know, ladies, we are especially guilty of thinking, oh, he's a diamond in the rough. Oh, I like this about him, but I'm going to go over here and nag him to death about something else that I want to change. It doesn't work. And if he does somehow just give you what you want to shut you up, believe me, he will resent you silently, and that's not how you want to live. What does Rodney say? Rodney says a woman's dating experiences produce expectations, good or bad, which some men may not be willing to absorb during the relationships. That is so true. I love that. Ladies, you know, Kevin used to talk about the alpha widow, or sometimes he used to mention the imprint. Whenever you are in a relationship with someone, you know, whenever you share your body with someone, we're not built like men. It does leave a mark. And hopefully it's a relationship that made you better. Even if it ended, hopefully you learned from that and got better for the next one. But either way, know that that's another memory that's filed away, and then that changes your perspective in life. And like Rodney said, another man may not want to take that on. All right, let us continue on. We are up to number 6. The work world has changed forever. Going back to what just another Mark said about working in a work environment that's dominated by men. Ladies, are we saying you shouldn't work? Absolutely not. But we know that there are certain careers that lend to prioritizing family, but still helping out and bringing income home. And then there are certain careers that take the best of you, your time, your talent, your brain power, and you come home a shell of yourself. We are just saying if relationships are a priority for you, choose wisely in every way, like your career. So when Kevin made this video, it was after the pandemic, and he was talking about how, especially in our community, so many women who had hitched their wagon to corporate or their career really had a wake-up call because companies were letting people go left and right, and you had not made the type of investment in relationships and people or anything to steady yourself. So now without that big job, who are you really? And then now that we're all going back to work, it's changed. Some positions, you know, have been eliminated forever. And a lot of, he specifically called out, you know, government and retail, but it was a wake up call for a lot of women who thought, oh yeah, everything's going to be all right. But, you know, let the pandemic or any life event, let it change you for the better, and get the lesson from that and make sure that you keep the main thing, the main thing. What would you say, Lisa?
I agree with you, and I would even say now, like a lot of people are going back to the office, whereas we thought people weren't, and they're changing it. Like I knew I got a sister that was 5 days a week at home. Now they're saying let's go back 2. Now let's go back 3 days a week. Let's work Wednesday to I don't know, but it's just like it's just so much going on. So we're still changing, even from when Kevin was talking about it about 18 months ago. So who knows what it's going to look like in another year? But either way, we can learn from like what Maggie just said. We can learn from it and move forward, or we can hopefully find a good compromise, I guess. But it's ever changing.
Absolutely. Rodney has another comment here. He says, if absolute power corrupts absolutely, leverage by women during the dating process must be used judiciously. In other words, every blessing holds a potential curse if used improperly. Yes, I 100% agree. So ladies, whenever you have power, and what we were talking about earlier, especially for younger women, you do have the power in your younger years. But believe me, you won't have it forever. So use that power, use that competitive edge wisely. Kevin often talked about, relationships are choices and trade offs, and basically making a deal and saying, okay, I'm going to give up, or give up part of my 20s, or, I'm not going to do girls' trips and all of that. I'm going to, be dedicated to you and, support you and be part of your new family. So just know that it's not forever. So use it wisely, because when it's gone, it's gone. And Kevin often said this: there is nothing sadder than an older woman, a woman my age. Y'all know I'm a late bloomer, but a woman my age that used to have all of the leverage and all of the options, right? The eights, nines, and tens, and she wasted it. And now she's in her 40s and 50s, and that phone isn't ringing, and she's just devastated because she has not had to wait. She was always the one doing the taking. So be mindful of that. All right, number 7. Men know that nobody takes care of them. This was a big one Kevin used to talk about when he would say, um, I know women used to get kind of upset about it, but I do believe we need each other. We need each other for love and relationships, but men can survive in nature alone. Men can use the utility of their hands and their strength to survive. Let's face it, ladies, we're not built for that. That's why we do need protection. And so men are raised, and as a boy mom, it has changed my life. I see so much where the way men treat young boys, it's like, all right, get that cry up out of your system. Let's go to work. So boys are not, and I would argue, should not be coddled, because they need to realize soon and often that nobody's coming out here to save you. Men don't live their lives, or the men that we want don't live their lives expecting any type of bailout or handout or any type of safety net. However, on the contrary, women, we walk through life like, oh, it's going to be okay. Well, have you saved for that? Have you planned for that? Have you prepared for that? And we're just blinking fast and slow because literally we have not thought through a lot of the decisions that we make. And so, I miss Kevin so much, especially when he used to tell women, you need a man. That daggone smoke detector, would be going off, and it's just like oblivious. And you know what, ladies, it's not to beat ourselves up, but to be aware that there are some things that we're just not as good at. Likewise, there are things that we are better at than men. But when it comes to, is anybody coming to rescue you? That's definitely a feminine trait and not a masculine trait. What would you say, Lisa?
I would agree, and I also say it's like I would even say we used to know that nobody's coming to save us, and to act accordingly. And to act accordingly, we do things as females to um, attract men, and to say, "Hey, I'm feminine, and I'm doing this to catch your attention, or what have you." And now I would say the best example is to go back and look at shows and TV from the 70s and the 80s, and see how young women act and how they looked and how they presented themselves, and compare it to what you see today. And you'll see it's like black and white to you, because that's what I do now. I really can't watch what's on TV now, but if you go back and look and just say, see how a 20-year-old acting in a 70s or 80s show, and you'll see the difference. And they're acting like they know that nobody's coming to save them. So that's my example.
Absolutely. We've got some more comments coming in here, so I definitely want to bring you all into the conversation. Let's see. Rodney says, does prioritizing family during a woman's career develop feminine skills versus masculine ones? I would say 100% yes. I mean, one of the qualities of a woman is that we are nurturing. That is a natural skill, or in my opinion, it should be natural to us. It's not natural to a man. He protects, he provides, but he's not a natural nurturer. So yes, women, when you prioritize relationships, when you love on your family, it does enhance those feminine skills. And I would say one of the things that is our saving grace, ladies, is that these are skills, which means you can work on them, which means you can improve them. Likewise, which means if you don't pay attention to them, just like a plant, just like your finances, just like your waistline, it will just kind of deteriorate. So make sure you keep that front and center if relationships are important to you. How would you answer that, Lisa?
Yeah, I think, like you said, soft skills. And if you're not practicing those soft skills muscles, you're just going to, what do you call it, atrophy or, atrophy or whatever.
Atrophy.
You need to, because I had atrophy after being sick for a while. And you would think you would know how to squat or hold your balance, and you don't. You got to go back to therapy and do that. So, yeah, if you're not practicing those feminine soft skills or feminine skills, period, you're going to lose them. You're not going to like what it's going to look like. Men aren't going to like it either.
Absolutely. If what men think is important to you, I always say, I realize that there are different relationships and this isn't for everybody, and that's totally fine. But if you do want that type of relationship with a masculine man, listen to what the men are saying. All right, number 8. Kevin had a question. Are ladies in charge of their dating life after 35? And ladies, we talked a little bit about this. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the answer is no. And Kevin often used to talk about high risk pregnancy. And ladies, the science is just what it is. After 35, it is more risky to try and get pregnant and have a child. Can it be done? Absolutely. Is it the end of the world if it happens? No. But we planned for both of our children. And, I had mine at 32 and 34 because I wanted to make sure I was underneath that high risk window. It just takes a lot out of you. They put you through more tests. And when you think about a man, especially a man who wants a family, this whole thing, Kevin used to talk about like the only child syndrome. Men usually, when they've built themselves and they're ready to take care of a family, they want 2, 3, or more if they can get it, usually. So if you're already in the later years of having healthy pregnancy, that limits what a man can ask for or expect without too much complication. Now, again, it's not the end of the world, but we just want to bring awareness to these things, ladies, because when you see men going for women that are younger, there's a reason why. So young ladies, especially if you're listening, if you're going to want marriage and family, I would say get about the business of making that a priority. You don't have as much time as you think. What would you say, Lisa?
All I can do is say yes, yes. I am someone that had their first child at 39. So I would have, and we tried, because I've been married for 18 years, but we tried to do a lot of things to make it happen earlier. We would have preferred to have our child in our 20s or early 20s and early 30s, but it makes a difference on it just makes a difference on your time, your patience, your energy level, for sure, your energy level. But also I can see why my mom had all of us within 5 years in her early 20s, because you need that energy. So I would just say it's not a detriment to be 35 and single, but if you're trying to be family focused and you don't want to spend a lot of money or go through all kind of situations, I would prioritize that in my youth while you got the time. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Absolutely. And just another mark says, number 7 is a real one. I learned in the final year with my father. I have learned that many folks reaching senior years nowadays are literally banking on their children to be their hospice care. And this is so tragic when I see it. Kevin used to talk about this often, not only for parents, specifically mothers of sons and daughters. And you all, I'm going to tell you, we are not to be a burden to our children. We give them life so that they can go out and achieve their best. It is our responsibility to plan and prepare for ourselves. Of course, you want family around you when you're getting older. I was taking mom to the doctor today, but that son, husband, and sister daughter complex that Kevin used to talk about, how a lot of older women my age who don't have their own relationship and their own house in order, they end end up becoming a burden to the children and then guilt their children into either providing financial assistance or emotional assistance or time, which is the one thing that we can't get back. So I work very hard to make sure that I'm not going to be a burden to the boys. I want them to live their best life. And I tell them all the time, don't worry about me. Mom's going to be okay. You come visit when you want to, but I don't want them to hold back on their dreams because they're worried about dear old mom. So ladies, especially, be mindful of that one. All right, number 9. So Kevin asked another question. He said, how does being single hurt a man if he's over 35? Follow up, what happens when a woman is 35 and over? So let's take that one at a time. Ladies, again, we are not the same. We are built differently. When a man is in his mid to late 30s, he is in his prime, and it gets better as they age. I love a distinguished gentleman. You all may love a silver fox or whatever it is. So one of the reasons why, and I now see this having boys and watching how they kind of bumble through things when they're young, and it's like, it don't take all that. Why is this so difficult for you? But when you see them growing into being young men, and I've shared that both of the boys are going to take the military route, so we're making plans for that. It is amazing when you observe how a man grows if he stays focused on his purpose. And Kevin often said for young men to take the 10 years between like 18 to 28, basically their 20s, and be heads down, eating you know what, and focus and grinding, because men know, and men should know, that the burden is going to be on them to make sure they can take care of themselves and a family. Honestly, women, we can be a distraction to a man when he's not yet achieved what he wants to achieve. So if you are going to marry young, you need to know that you're going to be waiting and be in support system to him. But a man over 35, now he's ready. He's built himself. He's making a good salary. He has his skill, his trade, his career, his business, whatever he decides to do. And often, ladies, these are the men that some of y'all dismissed when you had the leverage, and now you're reaching back out wondering how they're doing. So keep that in mind. Men do get better as they age. What would you say, Lisa?
They absolutely do, and they like to show it. I don't know. I tell my husband, a lot of his friends from the military, I'm like, wow, he's going all out, and I'm like, how old is that girl he's dating and stuff? But it is what it is, and they 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 come into it, and they're not afraid to show it, and they're going to, if you're not taking advantage of it in your 20s, getting on their program, they're definitely going to take advantage of finding somebody in their, when they're 35 and up, finding somebody in their 20s who's going to get on their program. So I don't know if there's any better way to put it, but I mean, that's what they're going to do. They just get better. And they have and then they have like what, another 15 years to stay that way and do what they want to do. So the math just has the math, and that's how it's going to math out. So I'm gonna leave it there.
I love this comment from Rodney. Rodney says, Miss Maggie once said, older men see themselves in younger men, while older women see themselves as younger women. Yes, you all, I do have a video clip that went viral. It's well over 3 million views now. And I was on a podcast and I was just listening to the conversation, and it can get so contentious. I don't think it has to be. It doesn't have to be ugly. What I meant in that quote that went viral and mega viral is that as a mom looking at young boys, you can even observe any boys. When I take my boys to the barbershop and they get out of pocket, hey, 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 don't talk to your mom that way. That's not even their father, because they know you got to get it in line, or I need you to listen to me the first time. Or when their dad tells them something and I'm right there and I'm like, I've been saying it. He's like, you heard your mother. And then they get up. Men can look at young boys and remember the bonehead things that they used to do when they were at that age. So men naturally want to correct younger boys and snatch them up and get them on the right track. However, because we're going to move into the next one, we women, we tend to think that we are forever young, I'm still an 8, 9, 10. I've still got it. Black don't crack or whatever you say. But ladies, we all age, but just know that I think we should age gracefully. And I think the women that are still holding on to their youth, it's because at their current age, they're not proud of what they've done, how they've spent their time, and what they've accomplished. So they're trying to still act like they're still in their younger years. But no, we seem to think we're younger women, but we are not. Let us continue. So, the second half of this one, number 10, how does being single hurt women aged 35 and older? And ladies, it's just the truth. It is going to be harder. Kevin even said, and this one is going to hurt, women in their late 30s and 40s may need to take marriage off the table. Your request or requirement for marriage was when you had something to trade for that request. If you think about how men think, they are cost benefit calculators, I think is what Kevin used to say. So if a man is saying, okay, I will take you as my own, I will provide for you, I will protect you, you are bringing something to him that he needs in exchange for that. And that's usually devotion, support, and a family. Now, in our later years, and I hope to remarry again one day soon, but I understand that because men marry for family, as we get older, if you have a lifelong companion or you have company or whatnot, it's going to be easier for you to get a relationship if you're not trying to nail him to the wall for marriage because you missed your window. Honestly, you just did. Because why would he skip over all of that to choose somebody who's hardened, who's been through who knows what, and can't really give him the family that he wants, which is the reason men marry. So, ladies over 35, it's not the end of the world, but it's going to be harder. So, try to think about it from a man's perspective because in marriage, you want what he has. You want his name, his protection, and his covering. So you need to be sure that you're providing something that is valuable to him. What would you say, Lisa?
You kind of, I guess you're showing them that you kind of mismanaged your time. And if you can find someone that's going to give you that grace, but um, I don't know. I just put mismanaged your time for that one. So I'm going to leave it there.
All right, we have another comment from just another Mark. He says, my father told me and my younger brothers that he only had us to take care of him. And it changed how I looked at him forever. Yeah, I think that goes back to when we were talking about it can be men as well, but older parents. So, if you have children, you all plan your family and make sure that you live within your means. You don't need all that other stuff. And then you get to your senior years and you become a burden on your family. You want them to look forward to your phone calls. You want them to look forward to the holidays and spending time together. All right, so let us continue. Number 11, Kevin asked, should a woman settle or go at it alone? So here's the thing. I know this is a trigger word for a lot of women. I'm not settling. I'm not settling. Okay, fine. Define it however you want to. But settling means, to me, making an agreement, a deal, whatever that exchange is, and coming out of the dating market. And ladies, you need to be mindful. Men are settling too. If a man chooses to marry you young, he's basically saying, I'm exiting. And as I get better in age and what I've accomplished, I have all these other options, but I'm choosing to be with you. So you're not the only one settling here. But if if it's too hard for you to say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to settle. I have this list of 35 things. And until I get all 35 things, I am not going to be submissive to any man. Okay, fine. Well, just make sure, like Kevin often used to ask ladies, are you prepared to finance and fund your life until 65? Do you know how much money it's going to take to maintain your current lifestyle? Rent is going up everywhere. People are talking about it. Winter is here, right? For those of us in North America, it's starting to get cold. Utilities and just everything that it goes into. I think life is better together, just like Kevin said. And if you can find someone that you can live with and grow to love, our parents and grandparents weren't madly in love on their wedding day, but they grew into love and that devotion. So if you absolutely won't do that unless he checks all 35 boxes, okay, that's fine. Just make sure you're prepared to take care of yourself until the end. What would you say, Lisa?
I agree, but I think the main part is that he just like said, go it like he said, go it alone, die alone and buy a dog or whatever the mantra was. But um, I totally agree with everything you said because I think that's you just really only got two options, and I know they hate that settle word. So
Yeah, we have another comment from just another Mark. He says, it's now a principle to be able to take care of myself so my children don't have to. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have children yet, children are a blessing, but let me tell you, they are expensive. So just make sure that you are set. And, there's never enough money. It's always going to be something to need, but make sure that you're responsible and you make good decisions so that you don't put yourself in a predicament where your children are now responsible for you. They didn't ask for that. All right, let us continue. Number 12. Are you capable of settling with a man? I'm going to say yes. So Kevin was asking, and what he was saying here is that so many women, and I'm seeing this too, especially as we get older, if you have not prioritized relationships, you get to a point where you're like, okay, fine, I'm not going to get all my 35 things. Okay, fine, I'll be with you. But you don't know how to talk to a man. You don't know how to love a man. You don't know how to support a man. You don't know how to be submissive to a man. You don't even know how to carry yourself as a lady. You've just been running around here being masculine, being everything to everybody. And then when a man asks you for something, you're already on 10 and you're barking back at him. And so, you know what? A man's going to be like, you can keep that over there because they don't have to be miserable. So I would just say, ladies, even if you do prioritize career or you delay for whatever reason, make sure you keep those soft skills top of mind and you can turn it on when you need to. Honestly, I would say you should be that way all the time. Here's a hint. You can still be feminine and be successful at work. But a lot of ladies find themselves in their 30s and now they're ready and they're like a deer in the headlights because they've never practiced relationships with real men. They've just been doing whatever they've been doing. And now they're starting at ground zero and you're behind the eight ball. What would you say, Lisa?
yeah, I'd say a lot of the women that we would see on Kevin's show, the callers kind of fit in this category, if you ask me, and also that um, kind of like I guess kind of chameleons too. They fit in that category. They're like, well, I've been able to kind of fool you for a while, and then it comes out, but then maybe I just needed to go on and just do it. I know how to play the game, but I really just need to be serious about it. So either way, um, he's called you out either way, but you got to do what you got to do. So you got to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Excuse me. Rodney says, I thought it was good to settle down. Oh, how times have changed. I know, y'all. I'm a proud Gen Xer. I mean, we used to celebrate, and this actually does break my heart. I remember coming up, and there's that 7 to 10 year window where all of your friends are kind of get your friend group, right, is getting married and having babies, and it was a celebration. It was a joy. It was like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy for you. It breaks my heart now when I listen to the conversation amongst men and women now, and it's so contentious. People are actually like, why would you do that? You're stupid if you want to get married. And it's just the way that things have become. I'm always going to prioritize relationships. I don't think it has to be ugly. Even if the relationship ends, you can exit with grace and learn from it and get better. But yes, I will still support settling down. I think it's wonderful. All right, so let us continue on our list of 15. Kevin asked a number 13. Have you invested your energy? I'm sorry, have you invested your relational energy? So what he was talking about here, ladies, is that you are going to give your best to something. It could be hot girl summer to a man who doesn't value you. It could be a career to a company who doesn't value you. Or it could be too meaningful relationship. Your choice. You're free to do whatever you want to. But a lot of women make the mistake of thinking it's just going to happen. It's just going to automatically happen. My Prince Charming is going to come. I'm going to be the princess and we're just going to live happily ever after. But those of us that have been in relationships, and that's what we do here at the Wives Club, we talk to you from a relationship perspective, not about dating. That part's fun. That part's easy. That part is just, the celebration part. But when you've been in real relationship and you realize that it's work and it's sacrifice and it's time, and sometimes it means being told no, and sometimes it means forgiving and holding your tongue. All of those things are skills that you only develop on the job. So, ladies, if you have not been dating with intention, you are behind. Hear me and hear me well as an older woman. If you've just been out here casually dating or focusing on your career, when you meet a real one, you will be terrified because you have not prepared. So make sure you don't give it all away to something or someone that doesn't value you. What would you say, Lisa?
Yeah, to this one, I would say relationship is like I used to always be in the comments of Kevin's calls saying he would say relationship is work, and marriage and relationships are boring because they absolutely are. It's work, it's hard work, it's boring, and you have to always be applying to it, or I guess the best way to put it is therapy. Always trying to stay abreast of what's going on in your relationship, find out the newest ways to do things. So I would say to that, I would say therapy is a big one for me. And to answer this question, have you invested? We invest in these jobs, education, getting that bag. Well, you got to do the same thing in your relationship skills, um, how you work at finding the guy, keeping the guy, and then and a lot of times he asks ladies, "Are what therapy have you done?" He's because they tell him all the issues they have. He's like, "Well, have you gone to therapy for that?" And they're like, "No, I'm just starting, or I went a week ago." But all that is part of what to answer this question. So I'm gonna leave it there.
Absolutely. I see this comment from Rodney. He says the fix me a plate phenomena was so sad in the relationship between men and women. I don't understand this, but yes, there was something that was kind of, people were having a visceral reaction to he can fix his own plate. I consider it an honor to serve. I mean, if you're providing groceries and making sure that I have, a kitchen and all the tools, like you mean to tell me that I can't serve you with a smile on my face? Okay. I'm not going to argue anybody down. But ladies, just know that there are women out there that are happy to do what you won't. So that competition thing is real. And I just think it would be foolish to make it easy for other people to insert themselves. So if you have a man, make sure you're doing your best. Study him, like Kevin said. And especially the easy stuff, the low hanging fruit. That's how you keep them choosing you, because that's what you want. You want them to choose you continually. Oh, number 14 on our list of 15, Kevin said, a lot of women talk. There's no substance. This one is true. And ladies, it's sad, but it's true. If all your conversations are about our social media, celebrity gossip, trips that you went on, superficial things. Of course, we like to celebrate and enjoy, believe me. But if you don't have anything of substance, anything of value, if you're not working on any personal development, if you aren't doing any introspection, whether it's therapy, if you aren't volunteering, giving back, if you're not doing anything and you just want to sit there and be cute and expect a man to say, oh, where have you been all my life? I've been looking for a pretty face to spend all my money on. There you are. No. Kevin often said that being a wife is a job. It is a full-time job. It is a role, and it's different for different relationships. So you need to make sure you know the type of wife that you want to be and that you're good at. And I would argue that you only date the type of men that value that and that compliment that. It is a skill, you can work on it, but ladies, make sure that there's more to you than just the pretty face. The pretty face is important, but men see a lot of that. What would you say, Lisa?
Yeah, we talk, women talk a lot, but silence is golden. And what was the question? We just talk too much, and if it's not of substance, what's the point? But I mean, and then what did Kevin say? He likes, they just want sandwich, something, football, or whatever in the bedroom. I don't know, but I mean, it is golden for a reason. So think of it in those terms. That's all I got for that one. Oh, I do want to say something about the presenting the food, or serving your man. Um, when you go to a fancy restaurant, or a chef or somebody big does a whole thing, they present the food to the people they're working for. So if you slaved in the kitchen or whatever you did and you present it to your husband, why wouldn't you want to present it to him? You just want to just make him go make it himself, or you can be like, look what I'm prepared for you. I mean, it's the art to it. So I mean, I guess that's a soft skill too, the art, the presentation, and the care that you took to. He brought the groceries home and you cooked them with all this, and it's appreciation. So they need that.
Absolutely, ladies. That appreciation goes a long way. I love just another Mark says boring men on the rise. Shout out to the boring men. And ladies, especially ladies who got caught up in the flash or the fast life, or you like the bad boys, or you like that thrill. I've heard that a lot, but that is a crash and burn for the long term. We in the Wives Club think long term in marriage. So if you're just here for the thrill, maybe that's you. That's never been me. I've been a nerd and only dated nerds. But um, you will learn to appreciate, ladies, that man that got up and went to work every day, whether he felt like it or not, whether his body was hurting or not, whether he was in a good mood or not, whether he slept well or not. That is the substance that makes a man. And believe me, as emotional and as flighty as we are as women, that steady Eddie, that boring becomes so valuable and so attractive. So don't sleep on the boring men. All right, so the last one on our list, and I am going to drop the link in case anybody wants to chat, and then we will wrap it up. We're doing a rapid fire tonight. Thank you all so much for being here in the Wives Club. So the last one on my list of 15 is that Kevin said that women can be awkward and not have soft skills. And ladies, this is true. And allow me to gently hurt your feelings. We are not as amazing as we think we are. I know I'm a 10 and I'm a boss and I'm this and I look good and I woke up like this and I slay. We are human and we are flawed. And not all of us are as skilled when it comes to relationships. So I would just argue, be aware of that. And remember, when women would call in, Kevin would ask them, what is your longest relationship? How long ago did it end? Who ended it? And what did you learn from that? What have you done since? You probably want to ask yourself those questions, because if you find yourself in the same situationships over and over again, if you're not starting relationships, like I tell my consults, what do you want out of this? So I want marriage and family. Then you need to say that. Don't just sit there and say, well, we just vibe. No, that is not a thing. A man is not going to read your mind. So you have to be confident as a lady to say, this is what I would like. This is how I see myself as a wife and mother, maybe with, you or someone like you, but these are my intentions in dating. You don't just want to sit there and look googly into his eyes and expect that the magic is going to happen. So again, ladies, a little bit of tough love, but you can absolutely work on this. And you get that experience, I would say, 3 ways: from observing. So if you didn't get it at home, your family of origin, if you didn't see real relationships, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're not, then your own experience. Every relationship that you've been in, you should learn something from it, even if it's just, oh my God, I should not have done that. You need to be able to say what you learned from that relationship. If not, what's the point? And then number three, like Kevin often used to tell men, you need to seek it out. If you don't have the tools that you need, these are skills. Just like you go for that big degree, just like you go for that promotion or any other skill, you want to learn how to play tennis or play the piano, what do? You get a teacher. So those of you all that are here listening to us in the Wives Club, this is our heart to give back, but you need to make sure that you are ready, because when you meet the one that you want, he's going to be ready. And if you're not, he will find someone who is. What would you say, Lisa?
Turn myself on. Okay, yeah. I To answer that, I would say that it's important to be self-aware, because he used to always say, well, a couple years ago, he said self-awareness is sexy. It is still sexy to be self-aware. So I think he had a one show where he was telling young ladies, go back and talk to old relationships, or, kind of do your own relational research and say, hey, old boyfriend that I dated 2 years ago, why did we break up? Or what was the issue? Or was I so bad to be around, And I think we even had AV or someone came on the show and was talking about they actually did that, and they saw some stuff in themselves, and they learned from it, so they could move forward with their next relationship and say, hey, I was bad at this, or um, I was bad at in this type of situation. And I think something else we also did, like strength finders. Kevin was also big about the strength finders as a test that you can take online and do. And excuse me, and you can also use that when you go meet someone. You can say, you know what, I took this test called strength finders, and you can take it too. And it's a great conversation starter on a first date, and we've talked about that here on the Wives Club. So that's what I would say for that.
All right, so as we wrap it up, just a couple more comments. Rodney says, "Forgive my thoughts, ladies, but femininity in the kitchen through cooking good food is highly attractive to most men." Thank you for saying that, Rodney, and I love that. I mean, ladies, whether you like it or not, men love. I've even had that comment. You all may know me from my cooking channel, but some people just tell me it's just soothing to see a woman cooking, or attractive to see a woman cooking with a smile. She enjoys it because it just takes you back to that nurturing, that love that you remember from your mom, from your grandma, somebody that loved you and wanted to feed you. We're all like little kids on the inside. We remember that. And I think it's such an honor to provide that to the man who is sworn to provide and protect me. Why would I want him to go out in the world not feeling that? So, ladies, learn how to make his favorite whatever. And I say, even if you can only cook two things, serve him with a smile. I think you would go a long way with that. Rodney says, mind reading is a graveyard to a relationship, while open, meaningful communication is key. I think that's great. And we can close on that, ladies. Just like you don't know what a man is thinking, you need to open your mouth and ask. You need to study him. You need to watch his patterns and see what he likes and what he doesn't like, what he responds to and what he doesn't respond to. Men also don't know what's in your head. So if you're going to sit there and be like, oh no, this is fine. Yeah, I'm fine to just kind of kick it. And you're screaming on the inside. It's one of the things I ask my consults when I say, okay, so the way it's going right now, if it just was this light and tight, fun stuff for the next 5 years, would you be okay with that? 5 years? No. Then you need to say that, ladies. He's not going to read your mind. And I would just argue it's better to say it in the beginning. But even if you didn't address it in the beginning and now you are either catching feelings because it started casual or whatnot, you really need to sit with yourself and be honest about it, and be prepared for either answer, because just because you want it doesn't mean that he wants it with you or at all. All right, Rodney says, great stream. Any final thoughts as we close out, Lisa?
He always said date with intention. So if you're dating with intention, you let him know, I'm talking to you because I'm on this mission, or this is what I'm about. Then you shouldn't go too far off of um, your goal, or trying to find the person. So I'll leave it there.
All right, just another Mark says, I keep telling women I'm dealing with and in my immediate family, when I can read your mind, I'll let you know, but don't hold your breath. All right. Thank you for the comment. The Wives Club is here for you all. every Friday night. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We're also on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you all so much for being here. The Kevin episode that we reviewed is in the description. It was a short one. It was only 10 minutes. So I highly recommend that you all take a listen to it. And we'd love to know your thoughts if you're watching in the replay in the comments. Likewise, in about 50 minutes or so, Kevin is scheduled, the late great Kevin Samuel's channel is scheduled to release new content. So we will see you all in the chat, and we'll see you back next week on another episode of the Wives Club. Thank you all so much for being here. We will go ahead and dismiss.